What is going on, Trash Talkers? We have a different type of video here for you today. We are going to take a look at the Atlantic Division in the Eastern Conference of the NBA, and we are going to break down where each team is at, what our expectations are for these teams, and what the future holds for some of these rosters, and possibly what some of these teams might end up doing throughout the season. So, we're going to take a look at the Atlantic Division, and let's start off with Nick. Your thoughts on where you see this division going? Which teams do you see making the playoffs, and do you foresee any upsets moving forward?
Yeah, so right now there are three major contenders in the Atlantic Division. We have the Brooklyn Nets, we have the Boston Celtics, and we have the Toronto Raptors. The Philadelphia 76ers, they're in flux right now. I don't see much happening with this roster. I think at some point we're going to see a trade with the Houston Rockets. James Harden's going to be moved, and it's going to be Ben Simmons is the one on the outs to Houston. I think that the New York Knicks still have a lot of holes that they need to fill, and it's going to take some time for them to get up to par with the rest of the teams in the division. So I think we're going to really be focusing on these three teams. The Toronto Raptors, I think they've gotten better. They were able to get Fred VanVleet back, and they were able to add Aaron Baines. And I think he's a really underrated player going into the season. I think he's been in the division. He's played for the Celtics. He knows how to play against these teams. So I think he's going to be a huge asset for Toronto, and he's going to make them a huge contender against other teams like Milwaukee and Miami. So I'd really look out for them. The Boston Celtics, they haven't done much, and I'm really curious to see how Brad Stevens is able to get this team up to par. He made some blunders in the playoffs last season, and I wonder if he'll be able to fix them moving into this season. You add Tristan Thompson, but I don't know if he's enough. I don't know if this team is going to be able to have such a quick turnaround from last season to this season and become that much better where they can lead the conference. And then we have the Brooklyn Nets. This is kind of uncharted territories. We're finally getting to see Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant play together. And is it going to work out? So far in the preseason, it's looked pretty good. But I don't know if it's going to actually work out. A lot of people are high on the Brooklyn Nets, and I'm not as high as them. I'm very pessimistic when it comes to this roster. I don't know if it's all there. We're going to have to see them work through this chemistry because they have not shown that they are at the chemistry that all of these other teams are at right now. You've got a brand new head coach. There's a whole lot of variables going on in Brooklyn, and I'm not completely sold on them. They will be a playoff team, but I don't know how far in the playoffs they will make it.
Yeah, so I kind of want to just get back to what you talked about, starting with the Philadelphia 76ers. I still see them as a playoff contending team. I still see them probably toward the bottom of the Eastern Conference. I think the sheer power of Joel Embiid and Danny Green and Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, those guys are going to carry the load for this team, especially against weaker competition. They're going to be able to obliterate the back end of the Eastern Conference. On the other hand, you mentioned that Ben Simmons could be on his way out to Houston. While that has been reported, I don't foresee the Rockets and Sixers making a trade. As I've mentioned in previous videos, and I'll get into more detail when we cover the Central Division. I see Houston making a trade with the Milwaukee Bucks, and I think that's where that's going to end up. But I do see Philly in the playoffs. As for the Toronto Raptors, I think that they lost a little bit, especially with the departure of Marc Gasol going to the Western Conference. I believe that Aaron Baines is kind of the poor man's version of Marc Gasol, if you will. He's still an absolute dynamite player under the basket, and he's a defensive stalwart. But offensively, there's still a lot more that he could possibly give, and that's where you're going to feel the loss of Marc Gasol the most, because Marc Gasol was able to space the floor and hit the 3-point shot at a consistent basis, where Aaron Baines, he's sporadic at best when it comes to the 3-point shot. He's gotten better over the years, but I believe that the spacing on the floor is going to become one of the biggest concerns for this team. You have the undersized backcourt with Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet, and then you want OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam to be able to essentially grow and take the offense into their hands. It's going to be interesting for Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet to be able to continue what they're doing, while Pascal Siakam and Anunoby also trying to take the reins of the franchise into their hands. Moving forward to the Boston Celtics, I believe that they kept the core of this team intact. Obviously, losing Gordon Hayward was tough, but Gordon Hayward was always injured for the Boston Celtics. They never could rely on his ability to stay on the court. So I believe that utilizing his roster spot to bring in players like Jeff Teague and Tristan Thompson, veteran players that have been there and done it before. Don't forget, Tristan Thompson is an NBA champion. He has won the title. He knows what it takes to get there, what it takes to get it done. That is some supremely underrated in today's game. You definitely need somebody with championship caliber experience to help lead this team, especially coming off the bench. On top of the fact that nobody's really talking about the draft that the Celtics had. Peyton Pritchard and Aaron Nesmith, these two studs are going to come out swinging. Not defensively per se, but that's what you have Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown and all these other guys that you have on the bench, Shemi Ojale. These guys are going to take on the defensive assignments and they're going to do everything that they can. But offensively, this is the Brad Stevens offense. This is the most primed Celtics team that we have seen under Brad Stevens that we can expect a ton of firepower from. I really expect a lot from the Boston Celtics. And then to talk about the Brooklyn Nets, we have, again, the opening year of Kyrie, Irving, and KD together. Don't forget Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, Joe Harris. These guys are no joke. They have been bona fide stars last year when there was no Kyrie, when there was no KD. And don't forget they have some guy by the name of DeAndre Jordan coming off the bench. So they have a defensive stalwart just waiting in the wings. And then on top of that, one team we didn't focus on but is still in a constant rebuild mode would be the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks, they're getting younger. They're getting a lot faster. And what they're doing right now is they have RJ Barrett, they have Obi Toppin, they acquired Nerlens Noel. That entire front court is pretty much set. Now it's about getting the backcourt involved. What can we get from Elfrid Payton? What can we get from Alec Burks? What can we get from these guard positions? Because right now it looks like the New York Knicks are in a prime position for another lottery pick and then possibly next year going into free agency, going after a player like Mike Conley from the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff here that we both have different from each other, but also a lot of things we also agree on. And I think that we both have three of these teams making the playoffs: the Toronto Raptors, the Boston Celtics, and the Brooklyn Nets. We're both on the fringe with Philly. We think that there might be something there, but that is yet to be determined. And we both agree that the New York Knicks are a rebuild team that is still progressing through that. So there is a lot that we can debate about, but there are some pretty fundamental, solid facts that point to which teams will make the playoffs and which teams won't.
Absolutely. And, just to wrap it up, this is the Atlantic Division specifically. So what we're looking at here, and this is not, these divisions are not going to be similar in the sense that we're going to have 3 or 4 teams making it. Some divisions may only have 1 team making it. It's all about the top power of the Eastern Conference. So not each division is not created equally. And this is going to prove that, where I believe the Atlantic Division is by far and away the strongest division in the Eastern Conference. All right, that'll do it for now. Thank you guys for watching again. If you can, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We would truly appreciate any support that you can give us. Over 90% of you are not subscribed to the channel. Any support that you can show us, please hit the subscribe button. Click the notification bell if you want to get notified every time we give out a new video or anytime we go live. We have brand new content coming out every single day. Everything is going to be geared toward exactly what you guys are looking for. We read the comments. If you don't believe us, we we comment back. We talk with everybody. Let us know what you want to see us cover in future videos, and we'll make sure that we either comment back to you or we possibly put out your idea. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your holiday. Take care of each other. Take care of yourself. Peace and love.